Five.
Okay, I'd like to call the city utility meeting to order. Dr. Fellner, Mr. Richard, myself are all present. Did you guys have a chance to read the meetings of the previous minutes of the previous meetings?
Yes, I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes from the last meeting.
I'll second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Do we have any amendments to the published agenda? Can I have approval of the agenda as published?
Take that motion.
And I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Tonight we're going to talk about the GPD contract transmission system ordinance number 2020-58. Who would like to take that? Mr. Tom Mayer?
Well, I'll start it off, and then I also think Mr. Palmer and Nikki have both had a hand in this. This has to do with an estimate that is above $50,000 to do the assessment necessary, the evaluation, if you will, of our system. And so it would be the first step in in examining whether or not and under what terms we would sell our transmission system to this subsidiary of AMP-T. So I don't think I went too far astray. I don't feel like I provide much information. So if Thomas or Nikki wants to, has something to add.
Well, I don't see Nikki coming on, so I'll do the honors.
It's on here, but
As you have the ordinance in front of you, but you also have the proposal in front of you from GPD, I believe. And what, as the mayor shared, this is a necessary component for us to go out and to seek people interested in the possible purchase of that part of the electric system. What we did was to contact other communities that have been through this process. We actually obtained samples from those communities. Those communities included this type of prospectus and review and survey in their materials that went out to solicit bids. And so that's what we've got to do too. And so we contacted GPD, and you have that in front of you. That's it.
Trying to paraphrase or summarize, this is basically an appraisal, if you will, analogous to selling a house, to find the value of our system so that the price that is bid can be fair.
It's not only the value, Dr. Fellner, but it's also the details that stand behind that. So in that context that you're talking about, it would be the comparables, it would be talking about the actual system. It lays out the specifics of our system. It's a very involved document that goes on for several pages.
But otherwise, I think Thomas did a good job of explaining it. I think you summarized it real well, Doc. And the reason for GPD is pretty self-evident, but if there are other firms that could do this same appraisal, but none of them have, start from the knowledge of our system that GPD has.
Right.
So.
And just so people understand, this is just a transmission. This is not our house power. So,
absolutely. That's
Yep.
right.
And GPD has Jeff Pierce, who has basically grown up with our system. So that's a choice.
So it really is, there's no need to make more of it than that. If they might be thinking a question or two, well, what if we can't put together the deal with AMP, once the system's valued, the terms can't be agreed upon. Or I guess a better way to say that is that as we use this document to structure our bid, I don't want to just like automatically assume AMP would bid on it, that we know what it's worth and we can instruct bidders who may be more than just AMP-T. The other one that might be interested would be First Energy. So I think that's, we want to be able to have a document that bidders can clearly bid on. And so
Do we
Okay.
have,
stepped in it, but I think I backed up a little bit, Thomas.
Go ahead, Doc.
AMP comment. No, he's like in a poker face, but yeah.
well,
So
let's,
it's not just for AMP-T, it's for anyone who will bid on it if we go ahead and bid the sale of the transmission system.
so let's say we get this document and the number from GPD, we put it out there for bid, and we have 3 suitors, but they bid not up to what we feel it's worth. Do we have the right of refusal?
We can put the magic language in the bid, Doc. that
And we'll
gives
have
us-
the right to reject any or all bids. Yeah, I think that's a
Okay.
good point.
Okay,
Yep.
that's all I got.
Okay.
I think we need to move this onto full council so they can get the system evaluated.
I agree with you, Mark. So I'd like to make a motion unless somebody else has any other comment to move this ordinance on to full council.
I second that motion.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, ordinance 2020-58 will be moved on to full council. Now, we're gonna have a discussion on stormwater. Myself and the mayor were approached by a customer in town about his stormwater. So I guess I'll let you start this, Tom.
Yeah, I think that this was initiated tonight, and he may be on. If not, we don't have to use the name of the business, but I know he was contacted. Has a large gravel parking lot, and under the existing ordinance, it looks at and charges as if that's the same runoff as if it were concrete or asphalt. So that's the existing ordinance, the way the monthly charge is figured. Gosh, 3-4 months ago, another business was, I don't know, I want to say upset, maybe that's the wrong word, questioned why their storm water fee was so high. And it, once again, a lot of what they were being charged for was really an equipment lot, a gravel lot. And so it's not just this most recent customer. So I think the discussion is whether or not we recalculate those, I call them semi-permeable, and I'm just using language maybe, versus the paved or
Concrete.
lot. So, that's really most of it. Someone who would say, no, let's not do that, that would lead to people tearing up their parking lot and just letting gravel be there. And we really don't want that. I'd want to discuss and argue that a little bit. I don't know why somebody would devalue their property in order to lower that charge. But, that's probably the only risk to the idea of developing a lesser charge for the gravel parking lot over the the paved lots.
Okay, going back to our many numerous stormwater discussions and the change we made years ago, we have a system that they can fill out and take to, I believe it's a service director,
Yeah,
piece of paper to see if those could be
It's not-
recalculated.
yeah, that got simplified. There was a committee, a stormwater committee that looked at those kinds of appeals. That got changed a few years ago. So that's another way to approach that. Just have people appeal it. I guess my preference is right now it's figured at 90% of the asphalt lot, and I'm not sure what the engineering science is behind that. It seems to me that water runs off at something a little less than 90%. So if it's gravel, it'll run off only at 10% less than if it was paved. I'm not sure I'm buying that, but I'd rather look at reducing that on the gravel lots. I don't know the right number yet, and say go that route rather than have what might be an ongoing list of appeals.
I'm sorry, go ahead, Mark.
Well, I see John Carter on here. I was going to see if he had any comment.
I did have him on mute, so he's unmuted.
I'm unmuted, I think. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Yeah, you have stated my position pretty correctly. I guess to maybe take it one step further, we have discovered at our location on the east side of town, northeast side, that the existing stormwater system was inadequate to handle our load in the first place. And that I addressed when I met with the mayor and with Mark Triplett. So we made corrections to our system to divert our water away from the city's stormwater system, to put it into a little stream across the road. And that has cleared up the problem. And we did that all at our own expense. And I'm not asking for any reimbursement for that, but it was a significant amount of money. I may not be the only one that feels that way, that, why am I getting charged, $240 a month for an inadequate system that won't handle our load, regardless of whether we have a gravel or a paved parking lot. And, I'm not trying to get too far ahead here, but that was my other major concern, that the existing system wouldn't handle the load anyways. If that makes sense to everyone.
Go ahead, Doctor.
Just two questions. One for the mayor. Well, both actually. Are there two rates, one for asphalt concrete and one for grass?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
The distinction. Go ahead.
I think that it just makes sense to investigate a third tier or a second tier that falls somewhere in between those two. I know that Mr. McKeever several years ago brought in the Schrödinger equation on how to calculate the runoff per cubic millimeter of humidity, whatever. And so, I mean, he's got the figures, and I'm pretty sure it's an arithmetic problem. You plug in the square footage and you use the equation and you come up with a number. So I think that, and I know that Mr. Carter is not the only business in town that would benefit from it. There are many, and I doubt that people will tear up their cement parking lots to take advantage of it. As you said, So I'm in favor of that. The second question that I had was, we're doing a lot of work on the east side with stormwater. Will one of the phases address what Mr. Carter was talking about in terms of inadequacy?
You want the straight answer?
Sure.
No,
Okay.
not specific to where he's at.
Okay.
Without getting into too long of an answer, Edward Street, which we're going to pave, has, I think everyone who lives out there and folks who use it frequently, the stormwater, there's not a lot of catch basins, there's no curb. And so I think it's not just right there at Norr Road and Edward Street where John's talking about it. It's the farther away you are from the creek or the river down there by Cummings, the more of a headache. So, and if I may, Mark, one other thing along those lines, while I'm in favor of reducing that fee so that it's I think it hits the commercial people harder than it needs to. I think we'd all would recognize that I don't want to raise any of the other portions of it, like on residential or whatever, but that'll have an impact. How much we lower it will have an impact on how fast we address what we're addressing in that fund. And then how quickly you can get to, if you will, other parts of town, other neighborhoods, those kinds of things. So that's kind of stating the obvious, but I'm in favor of looking at a rate reduction for these commercial people. Billing office gave us a list of those, who has what in the commercial category, but we didn't assume a certain percent reduction. So we don't have much information. We've got some raw data,
I
but
think
we can
that's,
turn that into information.
of course, that's where we're going to start. And with the input of Mr. McKeever, I think that's a topic worth discussing.
Okay.
That's all I got.
Mike, you got anything?
Now, other than, Tom, you said that the utilities had a list or number of commercials that this would apply to, you said?
Yes.
Not for the name purpose, I'd just be curious, the number.
I think it's 600 commercial accounts. What the data doesn't do is split those with asphalt and gravel versus, what percentage. So that's what I mean. The data's
That was kind of a question.
but I think it's 600. If Nikki has a better recollection on that, I think it's about 600 accounts that get charged that commercial charge, which includes their roof and their parking lots.
Okay. Yeah, that was kind of my question on this.
Yeah.
That's it for me, Mark.
Well, I think it's a good start. We'll just have to wait till we get more information and maybe talk about it next meeting. Maybe we'll have more information.
I agree.
Yeah, I do too.
John, do you have any other comments?
No, but I appreciate it being brought up because I'm sure I speak for other businesses in town that continue to pay that fee every month and kind of wonder, what am I getting, for my buck? So,
Right.
Or am I being overcharged a little bit in comparison to, others? Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. We'll work on that, John. So hang tight.
Thank you, gentlemen and ladies.
Okay, do we have any other business tonight?
I don't have anything.
Doc?
Negative.
Okay, our next meeting will be October 7th at 7 o'clock. And if nobody else has anything, can I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make that motion to adjourn the utilities meeting.
And I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, meeting's adjourned at 7:21.
Okay.
Is this the same channel for the other one?
Yeah, but I'm gonna have to, we're still live. I'm gonna see, hopefully I can start it live again. Let me stop it.